2 of Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg here, along with the silent assassin Matt Costa and Stephanie Burke. We're going to come up with a nickname for you eventually.
It's been how many years?
You want to be the psychic assassin?
I could.
No, that would be taking over Matt's nickname.
I don't think he's willing to share.
Matt, do you have Snapchat? Okay. Maybe later you can use Stephanie's Snapchat and snap a picture of yourself as a cat.
We can do it right now.
They have cat heads now.
See if I can get it up.
I saw everybody. You can tell because everybody starts posting whenever there's a new filter. They start posting all the pictures on Facebook, and I was looking at everybody like posting pictures of themselves as cats. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I haven't put you on.
Are they?
What, that Mike?
Don't tell me.
I don't know.
Oh, jeez. Coming in hot.
I was gonna say Snapchat filters are very ratchet. I don't know if I'm using that right. I'm probably not.
I don't know either.
I'm not cool enough to know, so
we don't know. We're not part of that. But yes, you can actually catify yourself.
Very
so
nice.
if you cat, I say you take a cat picture of me. You got to put it on the Spooky South Coast Instagram account. All right. Well, I think we are ready. I think we can actually get a little weird right now with Melody. So let's try and do this again.
Spooky South Coast presents The Week in Weird with Paranormal News correspondent Melody Knapp.
All right, Melody. No feedback loops now, I promise.
Thank goodness. I'm glad we were able to figure it out.
It was all totally me.
Yes, it was.
Feels like I'm doing this time.
And I always know that like I have to not run the audio on because I watch the stream because I'm in the chat room, so the stream is up in front of me. So I got to make sure I turn the audio down. So that's on me tonight. So thank you for joining us. I'm glad we could. We can always move the Week in Weird around. It doesn't have to be exactly at that time.
All right.
So although most of the time we have somebody booked, so we can't always do it. But so you got some weird stories for us tonight?
I do. So we begin this week with an article published by our very own Tim Weisberg on WBSM.com. A woman found in California claiming to be a mermaid. On Tuesday morning around 3 a.m., the woman was found wet and almost completely naked. Fingerprints taken reveal no true identity for the woman, but she is described as being 16 to 30 years old, 5'4", around 150 pounds, of white or Hispanic descent, and having 2 webbed toes on each of her feet, going with her story that she is a mermaid.
The only question that I have about this, Melody, I haven't met a lot of mermaids in my life, but I'm just assuming that they don't have mustaches.
Right.
Well, I don't mean to be mean.
Not necessarily.
I don't mean to be mean, but like
maybe it's cold underwater and they need extra
possible.
body hair.
Right. Wouldn't they have extra body hair?
I mean, catfish have mustaches, right? So it's
they certainly do.
Possible. But
they have glorious mustaches.
I want to thank our friend Mike Banty, who runs the Weird Fresno website. He actually contributed some thoughts to that story, and actually said that he says Fresno is a weird place, hence having an entire website called Weird Fresno. But he said he once covered a case of 2 fishermen who say they saw something strange crawl out of the water near where the woman was found. So
I actually had that in the rest of my little synopsis of the article because I
cut you off.
It's totally okay. But yeah, no, apparently it is not, odd for them to get stories about strange creatures, ghosts, UFO sightings. Like, they have everything.
Well, if anybody wants to find out more about that story, and if you want to find out more about Mike's website, weirdfresno.com, you can just go to the Spooky South Coast website, and right at the bottom where we have the WBSM Spooky South Coast blog, you'll see the links to the stories. It'll be right there, so you can check it out. And give me lots of page views. I want it to be the number one. I want it to be the number 1 story of the week because we do a little internal top 11 every week of what were the top stories, and I want that to be number 1 because we missed out on the Puckwudgies last week.
Really?
The Puckwudgie story was not number 1.
That's kind of
disappointing.
Well, you do stories about serious news and about restaurants closing, things like that. Those tend to supersede the weird stories. But come on, weirdos. Everybody go and click on that story.
Weirdos unite.
We want to show
Embrace the weird.
The weird stuff is what works. All right, what else do you have for us?
All right, so switching gears, we now bring you the joyous news that Rob Lowe has spent the night in some of America's most haunted locations for an upcoming TV series set to air on A&E titled The Lowe Files. The show will focus on America's creepiest locations, folklore, and myths. Cheryl Nelson actually wrote on the post when we posted it earlier in the week that she thinks it could be fun. So, I mean, I think she has a point. It could be very interesting.
That would be Mama Cheryl.
Yeah.
So we always take Mama Cheryl's advice on things because she makes the best. She makes the best cookies.
I haven't tried the cookies yet.
You have the cookies.
No, I didn't.
I brought them in. I shared them with everybody.
Yeah, but I didn't have any.
Well, that's your fault. Never wait around me when there's cookies.
Right.
So and then what I also found interesting about that is, Rob Lowe's a guy who, he's a pretty good actor, but I don't know if he would be. I think we would kind of know if he was overacting in terms of a paranormal show. I think it would kind of stick out a little bit. But what I would love is I would love for him to actually do the investigations as the character he played on that show. What was it, The Closer? I think that was the show that he just had, The Closer. And no, not that was the show with the girl. What was the show with Rob? The Closer was the one with Kevin Bacon's wife, right?
I don't know. You ask me about movies all the time, and
that's right. You don't watch.
I don't.
You only watch Total Divas.
No, I don't. I watch plenty more than that.
You like the Bellas too?
I do.
Yay!
But yet she doesn't watch wrestling.
I haven't in a long time.
I don't either.
The Grinder. That was it. The Grinder.
The Grinder.
That's right, because he's always grinding. So he was like this ridiculous, over-the-top actor who had a courtroom show that got canceled, and then he moved in with his brother, who's a real lawyer, and he was always trying to help solve the cases with the little bit of the law that he picked up on from being on TV. But he was so over the top with stuff, with reactions. I was like, that is what would work as a paranormal investigator. I want the Grinder hunts ghosts.
All right.
Okay.
So make that happen, Melody. All right, what else? What else do you have for us?
All right, to close this out, I found this article that I found really interesting. Midnightinthedesert.com reports a study finds 55% of nurses report paranormal experiences. It's often overlooked that nurses have the unique opportunity to observe the moments just before and after death. I mean, it's natural then for them to catch a glimpse behind the veil, separating the worlds of the living and the dead, if such a veil exists. To confirm the presence of such a veil, a recent study found the majority of nurses from 8 Argentinian hospitals reported having, witnessed strange, unexplained, or paranormal phenomenons while on the job. The report will be published in the upcoming issue of Journal of Scientific Experiments. So, I mean, I can definitely see why nurses would have experiences, especially with what they're dealing with on a daily basis.
We have in the chat room right now on SpookySouthCoast.com, we have Jimmy, who is actually a nurse, and I know that he commented under that story and mentioned the fact that he's had plenty of experiences of this sort, and that's part of what's fueling him as a paranormal investigator. So, I mean, I can tell you that when looking for locations for ghost shows, for places for people to investigate, hospitals are always high on the list. Because not just the negative energy that you think would be associated with somebody dying, but also
the residual.
But there's also a lot of positive energy too, from babies being born and people coming into this world and people's lives being changed for the better by things that go on at a hospital. So there's definitely a conflux of energies that are happening with them.
Exactly. And it's a place of transferring energy. You know what I mean? Going from one dimension to the next, I guess you could say. So it's a pretty powerful place.
And most hospitals also have the ghosts of turkey dinners that no patient would ever eat.
Exactly, because hospital food is horrible.
I hate when people that I know have to go to the hospital. I hate when they have to spend time in there. That's for a good reason, like having a baby or getting something fixed or something. But I'm more than happy when they go to eat their hospital food.
Why?
I like it.
That's disgusting.
I like drinking juice out of a cup with a foil top on it.
No.
I like. We actually have a listener who, and a friend of the show who actually works at a hospital as a nurse nearby in Fall River. I should be like, hey, hook me up with some of those turkey dinners.
What is wrong with you?
I love pudding. What can I say? All right, Melody. Well, thank you for joining us.
You are very welcome.
We'll talk to
I'm
you
glad
next
we were
week.
able to jump. Bye, guys.
All right, take care. That is our paranormal news correspondent, Melody Knapp, and you can check out all the stories that she posts and Chris posts and Matt posts on our social media, on our Facebook page, and also on our Twitter feed. Comment there. We'll work your comments into the stories, and a good time is had by all. I can't believe you don't like hospital food at all.
No.
Like
Who does?
When you were in the hospital, you had a child. I'm not
I
really
did.
revealing any medical secrets
Right.
here. But when you were in there, you didn't eat any of the hospital food?
Again, being blunt and honest, the night I had her, because I had a C-section, I was so hopped up on the pain medication that they gave me that I think I ate the chicken noodle soup that they gave me that night because I literally hadn't eaten in over 24 hours. So they forced me to eat it. But after that, they give you like this menu that you're supposed to check off. You have like Monday morning has a list of like 10 things that you can choose from.
Right.
And you have to hand in your menu. And I was so grossed out by everything that they kept bringing me that I was like, forget it, I can't.
See, it's different though when you have a baby. Like, people can bring you in outside food.
Well, right, and that's exactly what I did.
But, like when my grandmother was in the hospital, she wasn't really supposed to have outside food. And she'd be like, Timmy, do me a favor. Because my grandmother's the only person that could get away with calling me Timmy.
Right.
Timmy, do me a favor. I want you to go over to Frank's, get me a plate of fried clams and a hot dog. And I would do it. Whatever. What's the worst they're going to do? The worst thing the nurses are going to do is tell me I can't bring it in, and then I get to eat it.
Right. Very true.
So it's fine either way.
Yeah, I ate a lot of outside food. My dad was just recently in the hospital, and he was saying that he enjoyed the food that was coming in, and it wasn't so bad. So maybe they just give the really crappy food to the people that just had babies.
Maybe.
I don't know.
There might be a secret to it. They're like, this is the way we're going to encourage you to start dropping the baby weight.
Oh my God.
By making you think food tastes gross, and then you won't eat.
Hospital cafeteria food is a different story.
Right. I was going to say to Matt, we knew somebody that insisted on eating at the hospital.
Yep.
There was when we had a different career, Matt and I, when we were at a different place that we worked at together. We would hear the story all the time about, well, you got to go to the hospital on Fridays for the fish and chips. You can't. It's good. You get a big piece of fish and it's only $5 and it's delicious. And it's like, all right,
No.
so go to the hospital. How do you say that to somebody like, where are we going tonight? We're going to the hospital.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I hear it's Salisbury steak night at the hospital. We're going to go get some Salisbury steak.
I wouldn't eat Salisbury steak outside of the hospital.
Yet another spooky South Coast has reverted to talking about food.
Of course.
I've been eating,
We should just start a food segment.
working in the newsroom and having to microwave meals. I went out and got some of those completes.
Yes.
And I got the pot roast and the Salisbury steak, and I ate them on back-to-back nights.
Did you?
Totally the same meal.
Oh, that's right. You did make a post about that.
Totally the same meal. And
you were a little upset.
I actually tweeted Hormel Foods about it, and they didn't respond.
Of course.
Which made me even more upset. But it's like the pot roast is like potatoes and carrots and meat, and then the Salisbury steak was just potatoes and meat. And I'm like, there's not a lot of variety here.
I'm sorry.
With these complete meals. And why is it that when you get like I know that I'm a bigger guy, and I know that I probably eat more than most people, but why is it that every like lean cuisine and all that stuff is really half of what it should be?
Because they're trying to portion out what you're eating so you don't overeat.
But it's like half of what a normal adult could eat.
I agree.
I have known one adult person in my life that's like, I can't even finish this lean cuisine. And
it's not enough food for me.
I questioned his manhood on a regular basis. And I mean manhood,
His
not
manhood.
I mean manhood like
This is
as in
getting
like
weird.
human being man.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm like, what are you, some sort of strange alien creature? That's
Alien
enough
creature.
for you?
Yes.
He might have been.
It could be.
Maybe it's just I was trying to make myself feel better.
No, because
Like,
they're
everybody
not
should
enough
just be
food for
fat
me.
like me.
I used to like those Boston Market meals, which are very small too. So.
Are you making money? Jeez.
Boston Market.
Banquets all day.
I know. I used to love to go to Boston Market though and get the food and bring it home. Did you ever go to a Boston Market?
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Just buy the chicken, take it home.
Yep.
And then they got the meatloaf. I'm like, what is this? I have two choices. Like, I'm not buying meatloaf at a restaurant, but at a fast food restaurant.
My goodness.
And speaking of fast
I
food,
think it's the only acceptable meatloaf I've had at a restaurant.
before
I don't order meatloaf at a restaurant.
Exactly.
we go, and before we dive back into the concept of dreams
Yes.
and nightmares, I got to say that one of my dreams is coming true.
Is it? What's coming true? Tell me
And it
about
ties into food.
Does it?
They are opening a Sonic in Wareham.
I did see that. So what is the big deal about Sonic?
I am going to get so much fatter. Sonic is not good. Like,
but I've heard that.
I mean, I'm sorry, not good for you is what I should say.
Okay, so it's delicious.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not the healthiest options of food. It's definitely 100% comfort food.
Okay.
And it's everything that you want in comfort food.
Okay.
So don't go there thinking you're going to get a salad. They might have salads. I don't even know, but I've never even looked at the menu enough to know if
I've
they
seen
have
like
salads.
commercials of people eating drinking milkshakes and
Yes,
different things like
they
that.
have phenomenal milkshakes.
Okay.
With all different varieties of flavors.
So does this mean you're bringing me milkshakes every week? from now on?
Half-price milkshakes after 8 p.m.
Okay. Deal.
And they're not really all that expensive to begin with. And then they have awesome limeades and lemonades, like that they mix all different things into. You can pick and choose.
Okay.
And like if you go to the Somerset Sonic, they have like the Route 44, which is like their giant cup. So I'm sure the Wareham one will be like the Route 28 because it's gonna be right on Route 28. And they also have like tater tots, hot dogs, burgers, corn dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And like they'll just do a day where it's like all corn dogs 50 cents.
You lost me after milkshake.
I'm just throwing out some things. They have all kinds of things. They have really good boneless wings.
Okay.
That are super good.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically, I don't think I've ever had anything at a Sonic that I'm like, I'm never getting that again. It's always like I'm gonna get everything I got last time plus some more. The first time I ever went to Sonic, I dropped $50.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, it was, there was 3 people in the car, but I still spent $50 at Sonic just trying everything that I wanted to try.
The first time I had the option to ever eat at a Sonic, we were down in Virginia, and my husband used to live in Virginia. So we're driving by, and I said, hey, why don't we eat at Sonic instead of KFC? And he's like, no, it's okay. You don't want to eat there. And he just kept driving.
Some people feel that way about it.
Yeah.
But, it depends on how much unhealthy food you're willing to put into your body.
How strong is your intestinal tract?
I don't know. I'm
But,
probably going to lose that battle.
Sonic is a very big sponsor of this station. They support a lot of our endeavors. They are a sponsor of Red Sox baseball. Gazelle used to go there and get the weekly Sonic deals. I think that he's slowly killing himself now with this Fun versus Food, but
I saw the last one.
yeah,
I'm
I was supposed to
surprised.
do that one too, and he bitched out on me. He did not contact me
Yikes.
and tell me when he was doing it.
Because he wanted more for himself.
I'm a little
or
upset
he
about
was
this.
afraid that you were going to beat him.
I'm a little
Wait,
upset.
I think
about
it
is
was
this 2
the
that
ladder.
he banged out on?
He did. He screwed me on the ice cream.
Yes.
And because we were talking about that before he went to get the ice cream. We were talking about the ice cream, and then he couldn't get a hold of me because I was taking a
Right.
shower to get ready to come into work early to eat the ice cream that I skipped breakfast for because I knew I was getting a quart of ice cream, and then he did not bring me one, and so I was like, all right. He's like, well, I didn't know what you wanted. I'm like, it's a quart of 3 different up to 3 different flavors of ice cream. A quart of that.
Yep.
Like 5 toppings, whipped cream and a cherry. It didn't matter what you got me
Right.
because it was
I
all
agree.
going to just be a giant
Mess.
mess in my stomach. So you could have gotten me anything. So he's like,
So
no, I'll get you next time. And then we did the Quahog challenge.
you realize that I live down the street from said ice cream place, and I can just bring you one at any given point in time, right?
Yeah, but I have to pay for those.
Okay.
This is one of the perks of working here.
Okay.
So I should get to gorge myself on food.
Okay.
I'm just upset that I didn't get to be in the competition part
I
of it.
agree.
I honestly think that Gazelle thinks that because I couldn't keep up with him on the stuffed Quahogs, that I can't keep up with him on any future challenges.
So call him out.
I'm calling him out right now.
Okay. I think he's busy tonight.
I think I could do it. Really? Tonight?
Yeah.
Saturday night?
I think he's DJing tonight.
DJ Gazelle on a Saturday night?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I know that he's busy. Although he wasn't too busy to watch my live news earlier this morning without pants. So, yeah, they have the sandwiches on Texas toast, frozen limeades, Hell yeah, these people know all about the Sonic. Cody's telling you have to go to the Sonic?
He did. I just told him that he has to come with me, so
and
now it's an official date.
Look at Cody. Does Cody look like somebody who makes unhealthy choices with his diet?
No.
No. He's a very svelte young man.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes care of himself well.
I have to start eating healthy.
So if he's telling you that, it's worth every once in a while gorging yourself on a Sonic, then you know that it's worth gorging yourself on a Sonic.
I will.
The shakes alone, man. The shakes alone are all you need.
I do like milkshakes.
There's like 80 different flavors. And
shakes to make it quick.
And you know that at Sonic you pull up in your car and they roller skate out to you.
I did hear that, yes.
You order it. There's a big menu at your parking space, and then you roller skate out. So I'm excited about this. I don't know how long it's going to take because they got to tear down the oil change place and build the Sonic. But once they start building a Sonic, it goes up pretty quick. So I'm pretty fired up about this. I'll probably be the first person in line. Right, whatever that was.
Are we going to talk about dreams tonight?
We are.
Okay.
We did talk a little bit about dreams before. We shared some of our dreams. And I would like to open up the phone lines, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. You can call in at any point during the discussion. You can jump into the chat room as well. And you can also email us, spookycrew@spookysouthcoast.com. And you can talk about it on Twitter using the hashtag SpookyLive. So you have all these different options to be able to reach out and share your stories with us. What's the scariest dream that you've ever had that you're willing to share?
Again, it's not going to be typical to what everybody else would dream about.
But it might have similar anxieties behind it.
I can tell you about my weird story. So we're going back probably about 3 years. I was about, I want to say, early on in my pregnancy. We'll say like 2-3 months.
Oh, pregnancy dreams don't even count.
No, those are the weirdest.
Yeah, right. They're not reflective of anything. They're just weird hormonal things. But go ahead.
You've never been pregnant. So I'm dreaming.
I might be pregnant with some Sonic right now. Giving birth to a burger.
My God.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
I am having this dream. I'm in bed. And anybody that's ever been pregnant knows that you don't sleep anyways. So I'm asleep. I dream that I am on an operating table about to have a C-section. And everything around me is happening as it should. And then boom, I die. And I literally felt myself die in a way that I have never felt before in my life. I shot up in bed and actually was pinching my arm to cause pain. Not even, in a nice manner. I needed to feel that I was still alive. That's how much it rocked me. I woke up my husband, pinching him, making sure that he was screaming when I pinched him to make sure that I was still alive. It shook me to the core so badly that I couldn't fall back asleep. And I just thought to myself, what if this is one of those dreams that I have that come true? And so for the next, 7 or so months, I kept saying to my husband over and over again, if something happens to me and you have to make a choice between me and the baby, please choose the baby. Over and over and over again. He heard this nonstop for months and months and months.
I went through the same thing.
So, fast forward to having my daughter. They ended up delaying my C-section. It was just a ridiculous day. Going into the OR, things started to go wrong. Without getting into a ridiculous amount of details that nobody probably cares about. But they ended up doing something wrong. Whereupon they actually told me too, we have to fill you with fluid just to make sure, nothing goes wrong. These are the side effects of something going wrong. Well, those side effects started happening. And the last thing I remember is throwing up and then everybody yelling about my blood pressure and everything going black. I could not hear. I could not see. I was alone in my head. That was it. And I thought to myself, like, God, is this you? Am I dead? What's going on here? And my grandmother came to me and said, it's not your time yet. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, well, at least I can see you. All I remember is coming back to, the bright lights of an OR, and I could feel them bandaging me up, and I knew that they had to reverse something. So something happened. I do not know to this day what exactly happened, if I actually died flatlined or not.
I know what happened.
What happened?
You ate the turkey dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
Beforehand.
Right. So my mom actually called probably about 10 minutes later and said, "Is she okay?" My mother just came to me to tell me that it's not her time yet. So I don't know if that was what you would call a premonition dream, or it was just a way of telling me that something was actually happening. But I saw myself die in my dream. I felt myself die in my dream, and then it kind of happened.
I mean, I guess you could, and again, I'm not going to play armchair psychologist, but it could have been kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy for you when all that stuff was going on. You might have been expecting that when things go wrong, it would go that wrong. You know what I mean?
I don't know, because it wasn't even a thought in my mind, because at that point, I thought I was still going to have her normally. So. I
mean, it could have just been kind of like a defense mechanism, too, of like, no, not dealing with this. Try yourself. Again, I'm speculating on what it could have been.
It felt too real to be anything else but I didn't know at the time. So that was probably my most terrifying. I mean, I've had the normal dreams of, oh, there's a demon. But I've always, every single time I've been in a dream, I've been able to like halt the entire thing and been like, nope, this isn't real, and then been fine. So I don't know. I mean, I've never had a scary, terrifying, reoccurring dream. I have a lot of reoccurring dreams where I end up in the same places, but
I mean, there's good reoccurring dreams too. I don't want to make it seem like every recurring dream is negative. Some people have very good dreams that they can't wait to have again.
Right. But I've never had, the typical something's chasing me. I have really annoying dreams. There's times where I'm dreaming and I'm trying to actually punch somebody in the face, but I only get close enough to like maybe graze them a little bit, and then it makes me more frustrated. But I've heard I'm not the only one that has those type of dreams. So
how many times has it been me that you were trying to punch in the face?
Only like once a month or so.
Okay. Matt Costa, I'm not going to make you share any dreams that if you don't want to, but I'm going to ask you this question. Because working in the place that we worked,
right,
serving food, cooking food, did you ever have work dreams?
I did.
That's got to be the worst.
Yep.
Because, like, all right. I mean, I guess I'm not giving anything away now. We've been out of there for a long time. We cooked breakfasts in a diner.
Right.
And, like, there were days when it was just constant slips and orders nonstop. And I would go home and have dreams of that. And it would just be, like, nonstop, like, slips all across, slips piled up, waitresses yelling, Biffy yelling.
And you're the only one behind the line.
No, you were always with me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I was alone. I was always alone.
Well, that shows what you think of me. But it would be like a group effort. Everybody was working, trying to put all this stuff up, but we could never get ahead. And inevitably, I would wake up from that dream just in time to have to get up and go to work. It just seemed that way every time.
Another kick in the shin. I
right,
guess.
Exactly. So I wasn't the only one. You had a similar dream.
Oh, yeah.
And could you imagine anything scarier than dreaming about work?
No.
Especially in that situation.
Yep.
But did you? I mean, when you were a kid, I'm sure you must have had nightmares when you were a kid.
Yeah, I don't remember my dreams too much. But I mean, like when you're, I don't know. I guess where you're in adolescence, you have the scary dreams.
Your boner in class dreams. Did you have that?
No.
Okay,
no.
I never had that dream either. I wasn't that worried about it.
My God.
I was like,
did you have a boner in class dream?
Yes,
Did
all
you?
the time.
So, but I think that's kind of the, when you're a teenager and you're an adolescent, you're going through puberty, you're having all these anxieties. That's going to manifest as some of it. But was there ever a time when you were a kid when you were afraid to go to sleep?
Yeah, I was. I don't know. I used to watch a lot of horror movies when I was probably too young to watch.
That's what I'm
movies.
thinking. Is because
So
yeah,
I mean,
everybody's had those.
You kind of get like a little paranoid, and, like in the middle of the night, everything's all quiet, and then your imagination starts running wild, and
you tuck the sheets in around yourself so nothing can get you. Yeah.
Unless it's already in the bed. But
I don't know why something can't just get on top of you. I don't know why that logic has never been there.
The bed's a safe zone.
I
Right.
used to literally line
It's like
my
when the
bed
floor
with
is lava.
pillows. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
The bed is safe zone, so nothing can. Once you're under the sheets, nothing can get you under the sheets. I used to have dreams that were so. See, I love to sleep now.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that I hadn't shortchanged myself all that sleep when I was younger. But, we've talked about this. I would sleep like 3 hours a night. And it wouldn't even be 3 hours in a row. It'd be like 1 hour, and then I'd sleep for another 2 hours before I got up and went to school. And
Mm-hmm.
I had, I probably had sleep issues back then too, like I have now. But I always would wake up in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about this on the show before, but I'll talk about it again. I would always wake up in the middle of the night, and I would have this feeling automatically that somebody was in the house.
I remember you telling me this. Yep.
And I remember at one point, because I moved around a lot as a kid as my family grew and we needed more room. It was 5 kids. And at one point, I lived in a house where it had a closed-in sun porch as a room. And that was my bedroom, which was kind of cool because I had a doorway to the backyard, I had a doorway to the front yard, and I had a doorway that would go into the living room. So I was completely cut off from the rest of the house. So it was kind of like having my own little spot. It was kind of cool. But at night, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would feel like somebody was in the house. And because I'm detached from the house, I'm surrounded by windows all 3 sides around me. So, this is terrifying when you're in the middle of the night and you're like, what's going on outside? And I would be convinced that somebody was there, and I would be convinced that I would hear the doorknob jiggling.
So creepy.
But it wasn't the outside doors. If it was the outside doors, I'd think somebody's outside. And then I'd turn on the light and they would run away. That wouldn't be a problem. This would be the door that would go into the living room I'd feel was rattling. It's not anybody in my family, because why would they just rattle the door? They would just come in. So it would rattle and I'd start really, really freaking out. But naturally, being in that state of fear, you can't get up and go see what it is. You're paralyzed by the fear. And so that was probably the worst experience that I had with sleep, because I couldn't sleep in that room.
Mm-hmm.
And, we only lived in that house for like a year and a half, 2 years or whatever. And I never thought to say to somebody, can I switch rooms? Because I didn't want to switch rooms because it was cool having my own room like that. But it was just, I would sleep with the radio on, I'd sleep with the TV on, whatever I could to try to make it so that this wouldn't happen. And it had happened to me no matter where I was, but just in that particular location, it was especially bad. Now, years later, it never happens. First of all, I very rarely wake up in the middle of the night. And if I do, I just go grab a drink of water, use the bathroom, go back to bed, fall right back asleep. I never wake up. I never have these terrifying fears that somebody's in the house. But it was just that way for years. And I don't know if something happened to me when I was younger that traumatized me like that. Moniz has this theory as to why I feel that way. But I try not to dwell on that idea. But so that was always the scariest thing for me, was actually waking up. And it doesn't matter. I wasn't having a nightmare. It doesn't matter what I was dreaming or if I was dreaming at all. I would just have that feeling when I woke up. But in terms of nightmares, I always had 3 that were kind of recurring. I had one where my family went to New Jersey on vacation to Six Flags.
Yep.
And I got lost along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to make my way by foot, walking along the highway to Six Flags. And weird people would pull up and try to talk to me. And, so that was something a dream that I had multiple times. I always had dreams of being chased.
Never had that.
You want to hear the really weird one? It was when I was like 5 years old. I used to have to fall asleep in my parents' bed between them because this dream would happen to me and I would be so terrified by it. I had this dream that I'd be in my room and I must have been younger than 5.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably like 4. And I would be in my room, sleeping in my bed, and I would wake up in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden there would be a coffin in my room, like just standing straight up over by the door.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't a ramp in my room, but in my dream there was like a little ramp to walk out of my room that I'd have to go up. And the ramp was creaky wooden boards. And if I stepped on the wrong board, the creaks would happen, and then the door to the coffin would open up and there was a mummy inside.
Okay.
And I just remember like telling my mother this, and she's like, if you start having a scary dream or something, dream about something start thinking about something that you like in your dream and see if that helps. And so, again, keep in mind, this is probably like 1982, 1983. So I have the dream one time. I'm trying to walk up the ramp to get out of the room, to get away from the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
I step on the board, creak. Coffin pops open, mummy comes out. I grab one of the mummy's bandages, start unraveling it, and it's Bo Duke. So then everything was cool.
Okay.
But I know it's a little weird, but
Yep.
so and then but the most common dream and the nightmare that I still might have to this day, if I do have a nightmare.
Yep.
For some reason, I never have nightmares of me being an adult, and I never have nightmares of like my family now with my wife and my son. My nightmares are always me being a child or being a teenager. Even though I might be like me now, it's still like I'm living with my family.
Yeah.
Like, as, you know, all under one roof. And sometimes my wife and son are there, but most of the time it's like predating them. And we'll be in a house. And as I said, we moved around a lot. So it's a house that we're new to, that we haven't really lived in for very long. And all of a sudden stuff will just start happening. Scary stuff will start happening. And the house will change. And it's always like, it's this house that we lived in. But it doesn't look like that in the dream. And like things will happen where it shifts on me in the dream as things are chasing me or whatever happens. And as I'm telling the story, I just thought of another recurring nightmare that I have.
I have a recurring set to these dreams that I have. I don't even know if I want to classify it as a nightmare because I never wake up terrified. But I'm in my grandparents' house, but I'm alone. And I'm running around everywhere trying to make sure that the windows and the doors are locked and none of them lock. And I'm like terrified. It's nighttime, that somebody's going to get me. People have pulled up in the driveway. They never come in, but I can never keep them out, if that makes any sense. And I couldn't tell you why. And I know, like, when they were alive and they lived there, they never locked their doors, ever. Like, living in, the past, they just wouldn't do it. But I don't know if that's like some weird subconscious thought in my mind.
I think it might be. I mean, if I'm guessing.
Yeah, like psychologically speaking.
It might have been like you thought it was weird that they never locked the windows and the doors. And so you're like, why don't you lock the windows and doors? You have to.
Right. But it's just weird. And I'm like panicked in this dream of like trying to go around to make sure nothing gets me. But nothing ever comes in.
As I was talking about my other recurring dreams, another one popped into my head that I forgot. That was, and this one still will happen to me too. I'm in a building, a house, what have you, and there's some giant creature outside.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it's a Godzilla. I don't even know what it is.
Okay.
But there's some sort of like mega-sized creature outside, and I am frantically trying to avoid being near any window so that it can't see me. Okay. But there's windows everywhere.
Okay.
So that's one that I still will have to this day from time to time.
It's like a weird, vulnerable dream.
It doesn't. When I have that dream, I don't wake up like with any kind of.
It's just bizarre.
Leftover trepidation from it, but it's certainly something that does happen from time to time. And I used to have that issue when I was younger. I don't know if I ever told you about my thing with thunderstorms.
I don't know if you did.
When I was like 10 or 11, I mentioned going to New Jersey, going to Six Flags. It was a trip we made a couple of times when I was a kid. The first time that we ever went, we're staying in this campground, and actually, no, it might have been when we were in Lake George, New York. I'm not sure which one. But anyway, we're staying in this campground, and there's a really, really bad electrical storm. And there was a really bad storm anyway. We got there later than we wanted to because of the weather, and so we didn't have time to really set up everything the way that we wanted. So we kind of just threw the tent up and everything so that everybody could get to sleep. And I'm laying in the tent during this electrical storm, downpour, and I'm seeing lightning. Lightning that's different colors. I had never seen different colored lightning before, but it does happen. But I'd never seen it before, and it was really freaking me out. And like we're hearing trees come down all around us, and it was just terrifying. I had never been afraid of thunderstorms until then. Immediately after that, I was always terrified of thunderstorms. If I saw on the news that thunder was that lightning and thunder were coming, I would start freaking. And as soon as I heard that rumble of thunder in the distance, I immediately had to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Like, not like go to the bathroom physically.
No, like
I had to go into the bathroom.
Right.
Because it was always the room in the house that didn't have any windows. I would always have to find like whatever house we lived in. I had to find the room where there was either no windows or at least the least amount of windows, so that I wouldn't have to see any of the thunder and see any of the lightning and try not to hear any of the thunder. And the best house I lived in this one in Sandwich that had a bathroom that was in like the dead center of the house, and so that was perfect. I would just go in there and I would like turn on the fan and pretend like there wasn't even a thunderstorm happening, and that lasted a good like 5 or 6 years.
That's interesting.
Where I was terrified.
I mean, it's a common fear for people.
But now I love them.
I've always loved them.
Now I drive out and I look for them and I want to sit at the beach and watch them.
When I was little, and any time it thundered and lightning, you know, any storm that was coming, and you know, like we get some really nasty storms in the summertime here, living on the coast, and my dad would just take plastic chairs, put them out on the front porch, and we'd sit there and we watch it. And I've never been afraid of it. I've always loved it. My poor dogs hate it now, but
it was just that one stretch of a couple of years after that it freaked me out. I mean, I remember before that, like Hurricane Gloria, you know, my dad taking us outside. We were like, oh, I hope we blow around in the, you know, but it was just, I think it went away like after Hurricane Bob. I think that was the last time that like I felt trepidation about it.
I remember Hurricane Bob.
Probably about 3-4 years. And now I just run around looking for it. Like now I'm like, I hope there's a thunderstorm.
Me too.
I love when there's a thunderstorm.
I love the energy from it. It's awesome.
But I was trying to go back to that for a second. I'm trying to think where you would just mention something about before you mentioned that your dad would put the chairs out.
I mentioned something? We were talking about your dream.
I forget what it was. No, but there was something that like kicked something off in my head.
I don't remember what it was.
But
I know we were talking about how it's a common fear for people.
Right. And I, you know, a lot of people are terrified of it, understandably.
The majority of people's dreams...
maybe it was something in the chat room that set me off.
It could have been. The majority of people's nightmares, so to speak, are from common everyday fears. You know, if you fear a snake, you're going to dream about snakes. It makes sense. If you watch something on TV, scary movie, whatever it might be, you're going to have a dream about it. You're going to have a nightmare about it. But
I know what I was going to say. The only weather thing that ever scared me, like, you know, hurricanes come and...
tornadoes.
I'm always like, whatever. Oh, a tornado. Luckily, we don't have those that we have to worry about too much around here.
I was terrified.
So I don't have to think about them too much. But I had a microburst once in my yard. And now I'm always terrified there's going to be another microburst. Because those things are scary.
I was in Wareham during one once. And we were filming at WCTV.
That was the same microburst that microburst split the tree right outside my house.
Yep.
It like touched down right outside my house.
It was a Tuesday night. And it was probably about 5 years ago. And it was terrifying.
For anybody that doesn't know what a microburst is, it's an inverse tornado.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not a meteorologist here, but that's basically the way that it's been described, is an inverse tornado. Instead of this funnel cloud touching down and sucking up, it does the exact opposite. It's basically an explosion of weather.
Right.
And it happened literally right outside my home office while I was in there working.
Yeah.
And we're like, what was that? And we go outside. The tree is
insane.
split. And we're like, there was no lightning, because lightning, you would have seen the flash.
It was just like the weird pressure in the air.
Have you ever heard the stories of ball lightning?
No.
Basically, lightning will just roll through your house.
Oh, maybe I have.
Like, you will just be sitting there like watching TV. There's a thunderstorm going on, and all of a sudden, lightning will strike and it'll just go right across your house.
I think I have heard of that.
And I don't know if it burns a hole in the windows or anything.
I honestly have no idea.
They have a really cool thing at the Museum of Science in the room where they do the electricity show.
I know what you're talking about.
They have petrified lightning, which is pretty cool to see. Like, lightning struck sand and it petrified, and you get to see it.
Right.
But, I mean, we're just about out of time here, but I'm going to ask this question. Did your family tell you when there was a thunderstorm not to take a shower or a bath?
Of course.
Doesn't it just seem ridiculous?
Yes, but it makes sense.
Was there ever a time when people were getting struck by lightning while they were taking showers and baths?
I'm sure if we Googled it, we'd find it.
I don't know if it ever happened to anybody ever.
If it hits the house, then yeah.
Well, I guess the idea is that if you're taking a shower the water gets struck, the electricity is going to carry through the water. That's
Which it
not going
could.
to happen.
Why not?
It's not going to happen. Because what's it going to hit? The reservoir? And then the electrical charge is going to travel all the way through
No,
the pipes?
if it hit the ground, like outside the house, it would make sense, right?
I take showers during thunderstorms all
I
the
do
time.
not.
I don't care. It
My-
never bothers me.
I think my mom used to tell me it was fine because the house was grounded, but I don't know if that was a story.
I almost wished that I could experience being in a car that gets struck by lightning. Because you hear all the stories about it. I wouldn't want it to happen because it fries all the electrical stuff in your car.
You're not safe. They say you are, but you are not.
They say all the time, it's like, just pull in your, don't touch anything metal, just sit there fine. Or if you get struck by lightning, don't worry. Your rubber sneakers will help carry out the charge. No, they won't. They'll melt.
Exactly.
Matt and I don't know, Matt, did you have Miss Peltola in school?
I did, yep.
Matt and I had a teacher who was struck by lightning 6 times.
What?
She was struck by lightning 6 times. Not like I'm sitting in a car or I'm in a house. She was personally struck by lightning 6 times.
How does that happen?
They say once you get struck by lightning once, you're more prone to it.
Well, I
It's
imagine
actually the
so
opposite.
because of the.
Like you've always heard, like it's not like if
Right.
you get struck by lightning once, you're
What's
not
the
gonna-
chances of it
yeah.
happening again? But
Yeah,
you become
it's
like a lightning
increased, yeah.
rod.
Right. Right.
But she's been struck 6 times, and I can tell you that she is perfectly fine to this day because I just saw her at my reunion a couple months ago,
That's crazy.
and she still, looks great. She's still awesome. So she might even be listening. She's a fan.
That is
She might have been struck by lightning more times. I
right.
should have
That
asked her at
was
the
my
reunion.
question. Is
Like,
it only 6?
It was 6 times 20 years ago. So what's it up to
Electrifying.
now?
That's insane.
I think when you get struck by for the 8th time, you automatically become a superhero.
I would assume you get some type of strange powers from that.
I think it's part of the rules. So we had a pretty interesting night. We talked some dreams. We talked some Bigfoot. We talked some weird stuff.
Right, Sonic.
Yep. Now you're just making me hungry.
I'm starving right now.
What time does the Sonic in Somerset close? Because
We don't have enough time.
might be worth a road trip. That's the other thing about Sonic too.
I thought they were open 24 hours.
I don't think so,
Don't
but
tell
they
him
should
that.
be. I don't think they are, but they should be. I'm going to push for the Wareham one to be. I'm going to go to the planning board meeting April 26th, and I'm going to stand up there and say, I'm against this Sonic unless you're open 24 hours. And I can get half-price shakes after 8. Because you know what? If you're open 24 hours, it's always after 8.
Right.
So I can always get my half-price shakes.
My goodness. The plans that go through your
You know what
head.
I do when I can get half-price shakes, right? Is I just get 2.
Right.
Because I was going to spend $5, so... Well,
And
2.
one for me on Saturdays.
We'll be doing this. The
We're
only
gonna
problem
have
is
to.
I only have 2 cup holders in my car, and I can't go to Sonic and not get a cherry limeade and a shake.
So what you do is you
They,
get the
they
trays.
skate up to you though.
Huh?
They skate up to you. Like,
So
They do.
he says.
Do that?
You don't have to, but you can go through the drive-through. You don't have to
Okay.
pull up to the board.
All right, so
Yeah.
so
Good to
you
know.
can still go through the drive-through and be like, oh, I'm getting. I guess I'll get 2. One for my friend.
I'm bringing home food to my wife.
Right?
It's funny
so you
because
don't just sit there in the parking lot and eat it in sadness.
I've done that.
my wife's eaten a lot of second fillet of fishes during Lent.
That is disgusting.
That nobody. I eat 2 fillet of
Filet
fishes. I
fish
don't
is
even
so
care.
gross.
They're phenomenal.
Ugh.
All right, that about does it for this week's show. We'll be back next week when we'll talk more about the paranormal and probably food. We should just eat before the show, and then
We
we
need
won't
a
have
food
this
segment.
problem. We need a food sponsor. We need to come in here and find a spread.
Yep.
Sonic, we're looking at you. Wareham Sonic. It's all about feeding us half-price shakes and burgers and tater tots and all that stuff. All right, so until next week, for Matt, for Stephanie, for Chris, for Melody, I'm Tim. Stay spooktacular.